That is really, there we go. I was going to say that's really going to be annoying, but it's disappeared now. So, well, there we go. Hello and welcome. Still does not look like my screen. There we go. Now we're good. Okay, I'm going to plug in my microphone. I have not used this thing in forever, so I'm hoping this way I can kind of keep my phone a little bit further away. I'm hoping it works and you guys will still be able to hear me. So. Okay. Hello, Becca. Welcome, beautiful. Can you please let me know if you can hear me? Testing, testing, testing. Testing. Can you hear me? Okay, awesome. Okay, hello and welcome. Give me 1 second. I'm going to go through and just set the stuff for my chat. I'm going to do the moderated a little bit here. Well, I'll leave it open for right now unless it just starts getting really crazy. So, hello and welcome. I'm going to give this a few minutes to go fully live and allow those that were wanting to drop in from the self-mastery space to do so. And hopefully I can keep this from fogging up. It's a bit cold in here, so I don't know how long I can keep it from doing so. So, welcome to those that are new. My name is Éoaccí. I'm going to be speaking into a few things. These are personal experiences, personal revelations that come from applying this process that's based in self-accountability, self-responsibility, self-empowerment, and is speaking from a space of recognizing how its ego operates. Hello and welcome. Recognizing how my ego operates, recognizing the identity, but also recognizing how I can also present myself with greater clarity by not trying to hide from that part of me that is represented through ego, that is represented through identity. And then also kind of how this works. I'm sure everyone has heard about timelines, timeline splits, new earth, all of that stuff. I'm going to speak into a few things, and it's not, I just want to let everyone know, it's not coming from a space of imaginative woo-woo bullshit. It's literally coming from a space that's real world, real life application. Obviously, some of these, I call them words of power. Hello and welcome, everyone. These words of power can be misused and used for escapism, bypassing spiritual ego, spiritual bypassing, spiritual escapism. And we just want, of course, I've gone into that. So, I just want to use what I have learned to share with others, and allow that to be received in the way that it is able to. So I just want to let everyone know, as everyone's dropping in, thank you very much. For those that are wanting to spam the chat as I get ready to get started, I will just block. I will boot you from the chat. So if you're just going to be here to spam, please go ahead and either check out or just be ready for me to block you. Okay, just going to block you from the chat. So if there's a lot of random, chaotic, disruptive information, I will just block you. Okay. Because there's no sense in it. If you want to drop that in somewhere else, you're welcome to, just not here. So hello and welcome. Now, just for those that are dropping in that are new, my name is Éoaccí, and I'm going to be sharing some self-revelations. So for those in my self-mastery group, and by the way, for anyone that's interested, that is a free space. This is a space where I support, guide, and counsel others as well as myself. It's not a space where I am above anyone. I'm not anyone's like teacher or anything like that. It's a space where we do this together. No, ma'am. If it was a tarot reading, I would have had that in the description. However, I don't do tarot readings publicly or anything like that anymore. This is a space for, I used to. This is a space for learning how to approach your day-to-day experiences without trying to escape into having someone do something for you, without having to have someone tell you what your future is going to look like, without having someone present something for you that's going to prevent you from facing into yourself. Everything that I do, everything that I apply on a day-to-day basis is taking responsibility, taking accountability. And what is 9 times out of 10 happening, and hey, welcome. Oh, good. You were able to make it beautiful. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And Christina, maybe you might actually receive something that you need to hear from this space. Even though it's not a tarot reading, it doesn't mean that the version of you that exists in a future point of space and time, which doesn't actually, it's not like future, but that part of you that's trying to figure out what it needs to do right now, there's a part of you that's already figured that out and that's operating simultaneous to you right now. And welcome, Samantha. And since that version of you is operating simultaneous to you right now, so is past versions of you. Past versions of you are operating simultaneous to yourself right now. And all of us are operating from a past version, attempting to control a future version or trying to force a future version to show up because we think we know what we want, we think we know what we need. But in truth, we have not actually faced the version of us. Hello and welcome. My name is Éoaccí. We have not faced, welcome Carly. I'm going to give this a few more minutes because people are still dropping in. We have not faced that version of us that's existing in this past program state that's still operating from fear. We're still running from that version of us. We're still trying so hard to figure out what this future version of us looks like, that we're not slowing down and simply accepting where we are right now. One of the things I mentioned at the beginning of this, I was starting to speak into tone, and one of the things that you're going to receive later on if you choose to hang around is I'm going to share overtones. Now, as I'm speaking right now, my voice is basically an expression of an overtone, okay? And yes, you will. So if I'm expressing myself right now, am I speaking from a space that is trying to control? Am I speaking from a space that's fearful? Am I speaking from a space that's judgmental? Or am I speaking from a space that's aware, that's present, that's clear? All of those are options. And you're right, emotions are a part of our lives, but let's look at what that even means. When you speak, you're representing yourself in so many ways. You're representing yourself emotionally, you're representing yourself physically, because you're obviously somatic first and foremost. You're representing yourself through all the different beliefs, all the different choices, everything that you have ever accumulated throughout your life. And most people are not even aware of that. They're not aware of their choices. They're not aware of why they're making those choices. So what I'm going to invite for everyone right now is to take this as an opportunity to apply wisdom that maybe, and apply a perception that maybe you would not normally apply, okay? When we're speaking about choices, most of the time, one second, you guys. I'm going to do something really quickly here with the chat. I don't want to go through and have to just really quickly. I do not want to have to go through and make it to where you guys have to subscribe to me. So I'm going to ask you guys just a beautiful, wonderful, powerful favor. I'm going to invite you to use this as an opportunity to better recognize yourself. Okay? So if there's a lot of spam going on in the chat, because I want to actually interact with those that want to interact. So I don't want to close my chat off, because there are those that want to actually have an exchange throughout this process. So, but the spam is getting, it's not that I don't like things, it's that I want to actually use this as an opportunity for those that are interested, that actually want to be here, that actually want to apply some self-mastery. Okay, so if that's not what you're here for, I'm either going to ban you or I'm going to block off the chat. So you might as well just make a choice. What do you want to do? Because I do want to leave this open for communication and questions. Okay, and I'm just really just going to ask that, if you guys don't mind, to please honor that. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Love you, appreciate you all so much. I appreciate you. Okay, so here we go. One of the major topics that I have been mentioning to those in my self-mastery space is meaning assignment. Okay, I'm going to kind of start this over so we can all be on the same page here, because I was feeling a bit distracted. When we assign meaning, we are basically determining in a moment that this moment holds something specific for us. We're either determining that we like the moment, that we don't like the moment. We're determining that the conversation, hello and welcome. We're determining that the situation, the conversation, the person, whoever it is that's interacting with us in the moment, we're assigning meaning to that moment. Either we're having a good day, we're having a bad day. We are determining how that moment is based on how we perceive the moment to be. And if we are living in a state of past representation of ourselves, then this means that we are still operating through a state of programming that's attempting to force and control the future version of us without a realization of who we are right now. Now, who are you right now? So that's the biggest question. And the things that are discussed here are not religious based, just to let everyone know. It's daily application of responsibility, accountability, understanding why you think the way you do, why you believe the way you do, why you behave in the way that you do. So just so you guys know, just so I can start like really allowing this this chat to flow, I'm going to put it on subscribers only. So if you guys want to hang around, go ahead and subscribe. You can unsubscribe if you want to, but if you want to like stay in the chat, I'm going to go ahead and invite that in. Okay. It's just going to make it less distractive for me. I'm just going to be honest. Okay. And I'll just set it for 5 minutes. Okay. All right. All right. Thank you guys. Love you. Appreciate you. So one of the last comments I saw was that we do need faith. And I really want to highlight that. That's so true. That's one of the cornerstones. When you're taking self-accountability and self-responsibility, there is a part of you that's always operating in faith, but faith does not mean religion. Okay? Faith is the way that you receive yourself. If I'm wanting to control a future version of me, then I'm operating from a past state of programming, which means right now in this present moment, instead of having faith that everything is going to come to me in the exact way that it's supposed to, I'm trying to make something happen because I'm seeking a specific outcome. When we're no longer seeking a specific outcome, we're no longer operating from a thought process, meaning we're no longer operating from thoughts. When we start operating somatically, we're aware of our beliefs, we're aware of our behaviors, and we're aware of how we assign meaning. One of the conversations that came up with one of the sisters in my self-mastery group last night, she dropped in, she was like, Éoaccí, I'm trying to drop in, I'm trying to do my body scan, but I'm having a difficult time. And I asked her why. Why do you believe you're having a difficult time? It's not that you're actually having a difficult time, it's that you believe you're having a difficult time. And if you believe that, meaning before you even began the process of the body scan, you were already holding that belief, which means that that belief was just showing you what you already think about yourself. And so once you begin this process, you were going that when we're operating from this belief that we can or cannot do something, as soon as we begin to apply something that we think we're supposed to, we're following this rigid instruction of this is what I need to do in order to feel a certain way, in order to get something. So instead of the body scan being a neutral space of somatic learning, it became a trigger point for capability. Like what I'm capable of, what I'm not capable of. I need help because I can't do this. I did it last time, but I can't do it this time. And the whole point of our exchanges, and one of the things I stand by really, really, really intensely, is self-empowerment. I never believe that someone cannot do something. As a matter of fact, I believe you can do anything because I believe I can do anything. And therefore, there is no restriction as to what you can or cannot do, only your belief of it. But we go through our lives every single day, and we have assigned meaning. We have assigned, this is possible, this is not possible. This is what I'm worthy of, this is what I'm not worthy of. If you do not start redefining how you assign meaning, then how you originally assigned meaning as a child is going to control you throughout your life. You have to remember, you are not, your level of consciousness for all of us, our level of consciousness was a predetermined program. The reason why we call it the source self is because it's the self that steps in, that takes responsibility for its thoughts and for its actions. Okay? So, all right, I'm going to bring the chat back in really quickly. I'm hoping maybe, okay, there. So if we are committed to learning about ourselves, then we start to reparent ourselves, because every thought, every action, every choice has been basically imprinted on us. We have grown up being told how to think. Technically we're not actually grown up. Until you start reparenting yourself, you're still the child that thinks, believes, and behaves a certain way. And therefore, if you still think, believe, and behave as you did as a child, then you're still operating from a space that sees the world in the only way it knew how, through survival. And there is another life, there is another reality that exists beyond survival, beyond fight or flight, beyond right or wrong. And, oh good, I'm glad you're still here. Was it Bead6654? Thank you for hanging around. And since we have been programmed, we have received parenting or ways of thinking that have been systematic, okay? I tell those in my self-master group, like I was telling the sister last night, you have to reparent yourself. You have to step in as the mother, as the father. You have to learn to teach yourself how to be a receiver. A true receiver does not judge what it hears, what it feels, what it sees, what it tastes. It does not judge through its senses. But when you're still operating from these pre-programmed states of belief, you take offense. You project your insecurities. You blame the way that you feel on other people. You will say that you don't feel loved, or you don't feel safe, or you don't feel secure because of another person. You'll actually project your inner scarcity and your inner lack by blaming someone else for your inability to recognize your own safety and security. It's no one else's fault that you feel the way that you feel. You chose to feel that way. And at any point, in any moment, because every moment is an opportunity, you can choose to feel differently. But that's one thing I'm going to branch off into in here in a moment. What is feeling? Most people identify feeling as, I feel happy, I feel sad, I feel grief, I feel sorrow, I feel excitement, I feel ecstasy, I feel bliss. But those are ways of identifying with feeling. If and what you're saying here about believe in none of what we hear and only half of what we see, I want to speak into that, because here's an opportunity to actually offer a different way of approaching that. Everything that you see, hear, feel, taste, everything that feeds your senses, everything that your senses are relaying through you is based on your own belief. So if you hold a perception, if you hold a lens that the world, that there are people out there that have done bad things to you, if you see the government or religion or anything like that as something that does something to other people, or it's something that does something to affect you, then you're projecting your own inner lack, meaning I lack the capacity to see the opportunity of what's in front of me. Instead, I judge it, I shame it, right? So if I tell someone, and honestly, true, like what we see, I mean, you're right. What we see is a projection of our own beliefs. If we're in a belief system that's based in scarcity or lack, guess what? You're right. We're not going to see things clearly. We're going to be, because we don't actually see, we project. Our senses are outputters. The only way that we can pull in is when we can start reparenting ourselves. When you're a true receiver, you're the observer and you're neutral. That's receptivity. That's how things come to you. Not because you're outputting and outsourcing and shift blaming and saying, I can't, I feel this way because of you. You did this to me. When you outsource your own inner scarcity in that way, you're not seeing the opportunity. That person's the bad person. That's the bad guy. You're the victim. They're the bad guy, and they've done something bad to you. You don't have to take responsibility. So therefore, lack of responsibility, lack of accountability, lack of application, lack of awareness. Those are 4 pillars that I live by, okay? A lack of awareness means I'm not aware of myself. I'm not aware of my emotions. I'm not aware of my feelings. I'm not aware of my beliefs. And therefore, all I am aware of is what's wrong, what's bad, that this person has done something bad, or this system, or this, you know what I'm saying? So you're outputting. Not everything deserves, or not, and I don't want to say deserves, that's a heavy word. Not everything requires an output. Can you scroll social media? Can you watch the news? Can you listen to a conversation without having to give your opinion? Can you receive what's there? Can you receive the data? Can you receive the information and simply say, oh, this is interesting? And recognize your thought process around the information. Recognize what you feel about the information. And say, that's interesting. Oh, thank you, beautiful. I'm in my 40s. But the filter on here really helps. See? That's retouch off. You can see the lines. So I keep the retouch on. But thank you. But this is me without the retouch on. But thank you. Oh, well, thank you, beautiful. Oh, thank you, guys. I love you. Thank you. That was so sweet. You know what? Well, let's be real with it. I'll just keep it off, okay? Thank you. I love you guys. I appreciate that so much. So if we are operating from this space where we're not aware of ourselves, welcome back. We're not aware of ourselves, so we're always outputting. And if we're always outputting, then we're always outsourcing. And it's really easy with social media, right? Especially if you're in the generation that was brought up with the phone in your hand and access to social media, okay? It's really, really easy. And it's really, really easy because you're used to having instant gratification at your fingertips. You're used to being distracted. And in that regards, that pulls you away from your inner access to your own state of health and your own state of being. people will do anything for attention. It's really interesting what people will do for attention. But I was in that space once, so I'm not judging. I'm just saying it's very interesting. Speaking of not having an awareness, I guess when you're in that state, you think that whatever this is a very interesting thing about a lack of awareness, a lack of self-responsibility. You think that what you're saying right there, right now, is the most important thing, and that everyone's gonna want to give you attention, and no, not necessarily. And so for me, I used to take offense to people that would leave comments like that. But now I just laugh because I'm like, gosh, I can see myself, right? I can see myself in those people. Like I used to operate in that way. I used to troll people. I used to do the selfies with the filters and like, oh, love in my life, just woke up, no makeup, when I had full makeup on. Like seriously, it was BS. But these are prayer beads, and you know what? Honestly, I cannot actually remember. These were sent to me a few years ago. Agawar sent these to me. Yes. I'm trying to, oh my goodness. I was trying to remember who sent them to me. Yes, I believe that's who sent them to me. But yes, good recognition. Okay, so let's get back on track here, you guys. Thank you. I love you guys. Thank you for hanging around. Thank you for being patient. Thank you for committing to self-awareness. So when you're taking self-responsibility, when you're taking self-accountability, you're not outsourcing, and you're not affected by what other people say, what other people think, what other people believe. Like even with people coming on and trolling, it doesn't affect me, but it is distracting, and it's not serving a purpose other than I'm allowing everyone to express themselves openly, and I would love to keep it open, but it is distracting, even for me. And I'm just going to admit that it's still distracting. So just to keep everything flowing a little bit more consistently, it's not personal. I don't take it personal. But it is an opportunity for people. I mean, you can see like where people operate. That's why I do these lives, because I know people are going to bring their unrealized, unrecognized, lack states and project them outwards. Like, hey, look at me, 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 give me attention, give me attention, give me attention. And that's okay. And I feel you. I feel you. And I'm grateful you were able to receive that with a laugh. Hello and welcome. So thank you. Thank you. I'm grateful to have everyone here. Thank you. I love you guys. And this is something, by the way, just so everyone knows, this is a state that I have consistently worked hard at. It's something like what I'm offering you guys here when I speak about self-accountability, self-responsibility, self-awareness. It's not that I'm just positive, it's that I'm accepting. Accepting is a state that sees the negative, sees the positive, sees the bias, sees the polarity, observes it, witnesses it, but doesn't give either side power. It's not that the positive is more powerful than the negative. They're both a source of experience. Okay? And you're exactly right. Great gratitude, compassion, and what I tell those in my self-mastery group, unconditional acceptance. The reason why I say unconditional acceptance and not love is because everyone identifies with love. When you are unconditionally accepting, that's your receiver. That's your feminine side. Feminine does not mean woman, okay? Just like masculine doesn't mean man. We're not getting into gender identity or anything like that here. I'm simply talking about like atoms are polarized, positive, negative. They both have a job to do, okay? You're masculine, you're feminine, they both have a job to do. Feminine means receiver. when your feminine or your left side, which is right brain, left side, when it's open and available, you are in a state of receptivity. We are not raised to be receivers. Everyone, all of us, until we learn differently, our receivers are shut down. You're more than welcome to have your belief and your opinion. I'm speaking from my own self-application. If you agree with it, great. If you don't, great. I'm not here to argue, okay? So what this means is that when your receiver line is open, I guess they're not going to learn. When your receiver line is open, you're able to receive anything with grace, with faith. This means your projector line is outputting your beliefs, but you're constantly observing those beliefs, receiving them back without judgment. So this means I go through my day-to-day, my moment-to-moment, and I'm observing my thoughts, my feelings. I'm observing how this is showing up in my body. I'm observing how it's showing up through other people, because everyone out there, they're all parts of the play that I have created. Nobody exists in my domain but me. So and this is where I'm going to start speaking into the timeline split. We have all been a collective psyche of program. Thank you, beautiful. I do have a self-mastery group you're welcome to join. It's free. What this means is that we have come into we are a state of consciousness. But we have placed ourselves by our own agreement internally into a baseline of consciousness. This baseline of consciousness is closed off from its ability to truly receive. This is where we all start, okay? Not our true baseline, our program baseline, okay? Just like in the Matrix, it says, you're not here to choose, you're here to understand why. I'm going to add to that. Yes, the original baseline is where you start to understand why you have been operating from those choices and those programs in that way. That's your karmic debt. We have been a planet that has been consistently recycling itself. It's a school. It's not really like this physical floating object unless you're in that version of reality. I mean, it is and it isn't. But we're energetically interlinked into the simulation that is learning from its choices. And our ultimate point of separation is to actually think that we have no control. To think that there is some God, some source, something else out there that is controlling where we are right here. But that's not the truth. We are the source. We are the ones that placed ourselves here. We are the ones that programmed ourselves. We are the ones that chose this specific moment to experience this specific thing. You guys are not here by accident. You're here by design. So once you start giving yourself an opportunity to no longer be the victim of the program, to no longer be the victim of the way that you think and the way that you feel, instead of blaming the world, instead of blaming other people, you start asking why. Okay, so why am I making this choice? Why do I feel this way? Why do I choose to believe that? That's the first stage. Then you start seeing that once you start asking, then you start seeing there is another choice. That's the choice that was not within your awareness while you were recycling through karmic debt, which means every version of you through time that has consistently made the same frequency of choices. You've always attached. You've always been the victim or seen a perpetrator. You've always played in the realm of greed or neediness or what have you. Most people operate from their personality without an awareness of what that personality actually represents. They're just running around acting the character out without an ability to understand why. When you start asking why, you start discovering who you really are. You start discovering that you're not the program You're the source operating the program. And then you start making different choices. This is when I went a few years ago, I stopped believing in sickness. I stopped believing in disease. I stopped believing in I started pulling away from right and wrong. And therefore, I don't experience, like I don't perceive, I don't feel attacked. I don't feel like anyone is wronging me. I don't feel that way. I don't have that sense in my body, and I don't get sick. That's because I stopped placing my focal point on those belief systems. I decided that I was going to believe that there's no such thing as sickness, there's no such thing as disease, and nothing can affect me. You're more than welcome to ask a question, my dear. Thank you for asking. So therefore, my body does not get sick because my cells don't recognize sickness. My cells only recognize vitality because that's what I speak. That's what I believe. That's where my focal point goes. Do I still experience pain? Yeah. But when I have pain, it's because I've gone through a pocket of time where I have not taken accountability and responsibility. Once I have an awareness of this and I see where my choices, where my awareness and where my actions were creating the lead up to that, it disentangles and it disappears immediately, like within 24 hours. And it's pretty amazing. So now, speaking of a timeline split, you guys have probably heard this about like New Earth, timeline splits, all that stuff. So what is that really? When you start thinking for yourself, you start transmitting a higher level of worthiness. Like when I'm responsible for myself, I don't expect someone else to take responsibility. I don't expect someone else to do something for me. I'm not looking for someone else to save me. So therefore, I'm transmitting a signal that says I have an abundance of self-awareness. I have an abundance of self-worth. I have an abundance of safety and security, which means I can receive more. Abundance is receptivity, not financial security. So in order for us, and what's happening is there is an opportunity for, and I will answer your question in just a second, my dear. There is an opportunity for us to all receive a greater abundance, but most people are still focusing on it from very specific points of manifestation. They're trying to force the law of attraction instead of allowing their own frequency to bring it in from the application of self-responsibility, self-accountability, self-realization, and self-awareness. That is your receptivity. You're able and willing to receive all versions of yourself without outsourcing yourself. So this means you're not operating from when the operation of lack and scarcity is not your dominant tone anymore. You're not operating from survival. So and of course, when it comes to money, it's very easy to go into survival because we all need it to survive. But the truth is that when you're operating from that way of believing, you will only be going into the need of money instead of the allowance of money. And yes, thoughts are things, but the most important thing is to recognize where it lives in your body. We have all attached the way that we think to the way that we feel. Like, oh, I feel happy when I think this. Or I feel sad when I think this. I would welcome in a new way of identification. Instead of thinking like, I feel good or I feel bad or I feel sorrow, I feel grief. You want to recognize those things when they come up. Start saying like, I feel expansive. I feel whole. I feel open. I feel available. I feel receptive. Okay? Those ways of focusing your attention and identifying with feelings start to open you to seeing and recognizing how you have identified with feeling, which can also be a blocker to your own frequency of attraction. So what's really been in motion for like a while now is more and more are choosing to step into internal wealth, seeing that they were never abandoned, seeing that there was never a such thing as abandonment, no such thing as trauma, no such thing as abandonment. That doesn't really, no such thing as fear, no such thing as sickness, no such thing as disease. Those are ways of believing. Just like when somebody, the question was asked, why do most people use feminism words to represent girls or women? It's like speaking of identity, I identify a woman as a female. I identify a man as a male. It's identification. Now, there's nothing good, bad, right, or wrong about that. It's just a way of identification. But most people get so connected to the need for the way that they identify, to be seen, to be heard, to be recognized, that it becomes like this polarized bias of belief. For me, feminine's receiver, masculine's projector, they work together. They're not male, they're not female. Yes, I have a woman body, but I am both masculine and feminine, not gender, not identification, not identified. I'm talking about an operating system, okay? So therefore, this operating system is always allowing me to see myself and understand myself, okay? With that being said, if you just look at how you identify with things, most time when your beliefs are really heavily embedded, or let me say your identity is heavily embedded in your beliefs, you take offense if you think there is a personal attack on the way that you think, the way that you feel, the way that you believe. That's because you have built yourself and you've embedded and entangled yourself in this way of thinking, this way of feeling, this way of believing. You've so over-identified yourself with it that you don't see that you're the source that can change that belief. That maybe another belief that's coming to you is an opportunity to see yourself more clearly. It's not a personal attack. And this is also where people get really, really attached to choices, or really, really attached to the perception of choices. If someone else makes a choice and I am offended by their choice, like, why? That's on them. That's their power. How am I affected by someone else's choice? I just assumed responsibility for what I believe is someone else's source of power that doesn't align with where I'm at. So somehow I take that personally because my identity has determined that that choice is not safe. That choice is not secure. That choice is a personal affront to my ability to be safe and secure. But that safety and security had nothing to do with the choice. Our most natural state is existing in neutral presence, recognizing ourselves as safe, as secure. And if we accept that, then we don't take personal offense from anything. We're not affected. We don't go all over the board emotionally. We're not always tempting to prove our point, to battle opinions. There's none of that happens. There's no bias. Okay, thank you, my dear. Thank you. I appreciate you. So when you're not operating through bias, think about what that offers. Peace. When you don't take offense and you don't find offense, there's peace. Where peace is, wherever there is peace, there's prosperity. You prosper through peace. Peace is not an external force that you have to find. And it doesn't happen in the world. It happens within. And I'm not just saying that as some generic topic. I'm not, it's literally something that you get to apply if you want to in every moment. And that's if you decide that every moment is an opportunity for you to receive. So one of the biggest things I guess I will leave with everyone here before we go into the overtones is meaning assignment. What do you believe, and why does it hold so much meaning? First and foremost, like the biggest thing is, why are you blaming others for your state of lack? Nobody is responsible for your lack but you. If you lack the ability to feel safe and secure, it's because you have decided that you are not able, point blank, period. Nobody owes you anything. And likewise, you don't owe anyone anything. You don't owe an explanation. And they don't owe you a sensation. If you're seeking safety and security through a choice, then you're always going to be looking for someone else to do something for you because you do not believe that you have the power. But you're the only one that has the power because you're the one that assigned the meaning in the first place that determined whether or not you were safe and secure. It happened in childhood. In childhood, you believed at one point in time that you were not safe and secure, and you've been operating from it ever since. So if you do not actually take responsibility for that, then you're always going to be seeking and never finding. You're always going to be looking for something. So please do yourself a favor and take responsibility. Then you're not going to be outsourcing your power. You're not going to be attaching to relationships. You're not going to be blaming the world for your problems because the problems are yours. You created them. You defined them. You assigned them meaning. You gave them power. You determined that they controlled you. It's all you. And as we shift, the shift is the level of consciousness. And consciousness is not like out here somewhere floating around. The higher dimensions are not out here floating around. It's perception. Higher dimension, higher consciousness, depth of internal awareness. When you hold the depth of awareness, when you're aware of reality as it is without overly identifying, without overly assigning meaning, without going into a way of feeling, when you remain neutral as the observer, acknowledging all parts of yourself in the process without overly attaching to any of them, you gain a depth of perception. And once you have that depth, you don't go back. I mean, it's impossible. Once you've connected with yourself as the source, once you see reality as it really is, you don't go back. So you never go backwards. You're always going forwards. But that movement is your awareness. If you're not slowing down, if you're not asking the questions, if you're not teaching yourself, if you're not parenting yourself, you will always be a victim. Things will never be good enough. People will always have control over you. Welcome. People will always have some sort of source of power over the way that you feel. And you'll always be looking for the one. I find it a very interesting topic, especially around twin flames, because it's this belief that there's only one for me. But then that would make, like, obviously it's the identification with love, but then that would make love very scarce if there's only one person. So if you're truly in love, then you're not in lack. And when I'm in love, I don't seek love. I don't need love. I don't need anything. Nobody owes me anything. Like, I love everything. And I have received exactly what I need and exactly what is necessary. I'm not seeking more. I'm not seeking better. I'm not telling someone that they owe me something. I'm allowing everything that comes to me to be an opportunity, not an attack, not a personal affront. And that's what I invite for all of you. Because like I said, I do not see the impossible for people. I see what's possible. I see what you're able to do. I see what you're able to accomplish. I see how much empowerment you can offer for yourself if you give yourself an opportunity to be like, to take that level of responsibility. And with as many people as I've worked with, I can tell you right now that is the hardest. It's not the hardest. It's the one place that people will fail to place their commitment. Because upon being faced with yourself, those that are in my group can tell you, the one thing they hear from me is, I'm actually getting a true reflection. That's what they say. I'm getting a true reflection. I'm actually seeing myself for who I am, not seeing myself in the way that I've wanted to see, which is a comfort zone. Not every applause is a North Star. Not every soft tone is support. Okay. The greatest support you can receive is a direct mirror of yourself, so that you can go through this process of responsibility, acceptance, acknowledgement, so that you can learn and grow and reparent yourself. And you do not have to remain captive in this ancestral line of karmic debt, where you, as your ancestors, were given the same opportunities and never took advantage. And an opportunity is not anything specific. It's every single moment. Every single moment is an opportunity. But can you see that? Can you actually see that the moment is an opportunity? I love the fact that you have given yourself permission to be in that headspace. And to see that there's always, and even that placement of, like, this is something I said to my mom when she was going into a topic that was very heavy in judgment. And I said, or complaining. I said, people have it a lot worse than you do. One thing you could do, instead of using your time right now to complain, would be to be grateful. And it's not because, it's not that, there have been times where I've been coming from a place of thinking I'm better than. In that moment specifically, though, it was a moment of connection. It was just recognition, like, well, let's practice being in a space of gratitude instead of complaint. It's so easy to focus on the things that we don't have. So easy. It's so easy to look around and say, I'm not good enough. I don't have enough. Compare, judge, resent. It's actually addictive. It's why people project so much drama and so much. They're outsourcing their own inner shame, and they're outsourcing their own inner lack. And they think that if they just sling it at people enough, that it's going to make them feel better. But they're drowning inside, because they're running that version of them that they're judging, that they're trying to attack. Like, people come on here and troll me. Sometimes people just can't stand to see someone that they think a certain way about, or maybe they don't even think a certain way. They just want to fling it out there, right? That inner drowning is redeemable in any moment. Like, all you have to do is just say, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm letting it go. I don't need to be seen like that. And again, that's where social media becomes such an addictive source of applause. How many followers? Did it go viral? All these different things. And people are just so addicted to the emotional outsourcing that they get from social media, because they think a like means that they're loved. Because they think that if they share their life, if it's posted a certain way, their selfies, look what I'm doing, all these different things, look what I have, that they're going to be accepted. They're seeking acceptance. We do this in relationships. We go into relationships seeking acceptance, wanting someone to just tell us how worthy we are. The entire time, that's coming from an inner space of scarcity, because you're looking for it. If you're looking for it or you're judging it, then you're lacking the opportunity to see it for what it is. So please understand that you don't have to demand acceptance. You don't demand it. Acceptance is an inner state. When you're accepting, life flows. You're not seeking it. You don't need people to tell you that you're worthy. You don't need people to tell you how wonderful you are. I mean, great if they do, but great if they don't. You're not seeking it. That's the point. And I actually, no, I don't believe in, sorry, I'm just seeing some of these questions. I don't believe in any spirituality. The beads do not represent anything other than the fact that I really like them. Okay. So please don't place anything on me that I have not myself put out there. Okay. I don't actually, what I believe in is what I'm sharing with you right now. Okay. And my beliefs are based in everything that I have offered here. There is nothing, spirituality has a way of taking itself into hierarchy. Even spirituality, I went through that whole process of, spirituality, and then recognizing that there was so much ego still in it that I just stopped identifying with spirituality. Everything that I represent is self-application and self-understanding and self-mastery. It is not represented through anything other than a recognition of myself through my level of consciousness. And that's what acceptance does. It allows you to see yourself more clearly and not sling your shit on people and hoping that you'll get a laugh or that you'll get attention or that you'll get support or that you'll get something. It's recognizing who you truly are and therefore not trying so hard to get people to like you in return. Okay. That's pretty much all I'm going to share for today, you guys. I am going to go into some overtones. Yes, every single moment of every single day is introspection. I learn from everyone and everything. I don't learn from a book. I don't learn from I learn from my own choices. That's the biggest teacher. And ego is also your biggest teacher. If people would stop running from it and trying to hide it and trying to kill it, your ego is your creator of your realm of identity. It's there to serve a purpose. So if everyone would allow ego to show you who you are instead of running from being seen as being connected to ego. That was the biggest thing in spirituality. Spirituality has become a fad. It's like the 60s with with the whole love movement. Everyone's so afraid of ego. They just want to be seen as light. But light and darkness are the same thing. Two sides, one coin. You can never have one without the other. And yes, all of the great teachers, all of the great masters taught that, because the one and only place you get to actually learn is from yourself. And that's what self-mastery is. And that's what those teachings were saying. Like, look, this is for everybody. But the one thing I will say is you do not want to go into introspection to achieve anything. You're not trying to achieve enlightenment. You're not trying to achieve ascension. You're not trying to achieve spirituality or consciousness. Achievement is a need to accomplish, which is meaning that you're still trying to get something out of what you're doing. And I've learned that along the way. When you release that agenda, then you really start seeing things for what they are. So this means that I'm not doing it to get anything out of it. I'm honestly applying myself and committing myself because it's what I want to do. It's what I love to do because I'm so in love with myself. Why wouldn't I? And it's taken me years to be in love with myself. So now that, once I'm, now that I'm in love, why would I not want to consistently learn? And I also realized that the more that I would read books, the more that I would try to absorb knowledge, the less I knew. Because when you're trying to absorb, you're not applying. You're trying to be seen as knowing instead of understanding. Those are two different things. It's the one thing I say to those that I work with all the time. When your voice speaks, it either represents what you're trying to be seen as or what you already understand yourself as. When you're trying to be seen as, you're taking everything that you know and you're regurgitating it. When you understand, you've applied it, you've learned, you carry the wisdom, which means nobody else has that wisdom but you, and your voice represents your mastery. So when you speak, you're either speaking as a master or as a know-it-all. And there is a difference. A know-it-all is defensive. A know-it-all is attacking. A know-it-all takes offense and makes things offensive. Or it's right or wrong, good or bad, right? And exactly, it's allowing yourself to learn from the experience instead of trying to get something out of the experience. So I'm not saying you don't read. I'm saying allowing yourself to understand that there is a difference. Wisdom makes you the master. Exactly. Or I would say that because I choose and I commit myself to self-mastery, I gain wisdom. I honor myself as the master in that moment. Not as a title. Don't want to use a title. It's not hierarchical. It's just that moment. I mastered that moment. That makes me a master of myself. I have that wisdom. Nobody else has it. I share that wisdom. So I will say this really quickly in closing, speaking of that in self-experience. And everything that's everything I'm sharing is coming from self-experience. It's not from reading. Abundance is something that I've been trying so hard to understand for so long. And at first I was chasing abundance as a need to attain financial success. Doing the whole law of attraction, the manifestation, the mirror techniques, all that stuff. Now, I still do mirror affirmations. I still speak to my body. I still apply those things, but from a deeper understanding that those are all little pieces of a puzzle. The true ability to connect to abundance is to have a millionaire mindset without trying to attain $1 million, I would say. To live in that space of unconditional gratitude, unconditional acceptance, to see abundance everywhere without an expectation of receiving $1 million. And I'm going to tell you how powerful that's been for me, because everything that I've needed has shown up. When I was trying really hard, like putting out offerings, trying to frame it a certain way, like what are people going to like? What are people going to pay for? And I was trying so hard. There was an agenda. I'm glad this resonates. I was trying, and trying is not receiving. It's trying. So in that space, I was attempting to get what I thought I needed instead of allowing what was already there to meet me. Like, if you guys listen, Brian Scott, I believe, said this, and I caught this, is that there is a person right now making a choice. And I'm speaking from a space like if I'm aligned to unconditional internal wealth, which is self-acceptance, which is being in love with myself, which is not seeking anything, which is seeing abundance all around me. There's a person right now making a choice they're making a choice with their money, which would align them with me to invest in one of my offerings. They're making a choice right now in their life not to go this route, but to go this route, which means that we just connected. Which means that I don't have to try to put the offering out. I don't have to try to be seen as anything. This is why, this is my last upcoming public offering that I have coming up. It's going to be my last one, aside from my self-mastery group and my self-mastery one-on-ones. That person shows up and just basically pays you because you exist. That person made that choice. It was automatic. You're not waiting on that money to come in. You're not waiting on that money to be deposited. Like, everything was already aligned. It just shows up. And I watched that happen this holiday season, where I had family members giving me money and I was not expecting that. Literally, it took me off guard. Had $100, it's the things in the way that they showed up was not what I was focused on. I was not giving my energy and my attention there. But what I was doing is I was giving my energy and my attention and my focus to my inner worth. I was giving my energy and my attention to like how I get paid to exist. I was giving my energy and my attention and allowing myself to acknowledge all these different areas where I have been trying to control my reality, where I have been reactive to my reality, where I have been projecting judgment onto my reality, and I had to clear that. All that had to clear. And once it was cleared, once I had neutralized, it came in. So this means that when you're living in that state, it goes back to what I said with neutral presence. You're the observer. You're aware of what's happening. You're not trying to force or control an outcome, but you're aware. You're aware that every outcome is serving your highest. That way you're not trying to get something specific out of a moment. So now I'm learning that abundance, I know like I've been surrounded by people that had a lot of money, like millionaires, multimillionaires. I've been surrounded by multimillionaires before. I've been surrounded by those that, were connected to some pretty powerful people, like Jeff Bezos. That was also in a pocket of my life where I was seeking validation and I was seeking attention and I was seeking to be seen as abundant. Now I'm not surrounded by any of those people. What I am surrounded by are those committed to their self. That's abundance. These people that surround me now, those people that are showing up now are like, okay, yeah, let's explore this perception of trauma. Let's explore why I believe in abandonment. Let's explore why this is showing up for me. I want to learn about myself. That's abundance. Because I am abundantly surrounded by those that I can connect with. I'm abundantly surrounded by those that see the value in the self-application. People that just show up for an offering because they're trying don't see the value. They only go in from expectation. They expect to get this for this. But when you're in it from a space of inner acceptance, man, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because you know that everything's coming back to you in abundance. And it's such a beautiful place to be. Oh, thank you for that. I used to hear that in high school. That and Mariah Carey, which was really interesting because I never saw it. So please please at least give yourself permission to stop attaching and giving meaning to things. Honestly, even the government, if you believe the government is doing something to you, you're always going to be a captive in your mind to what you think is happening. Give yourself an opportunity to let that go. Let it go. You don't need it, because nothing bad is actually happening to you, nor can anything bad actually happen to you. You define bad. You define good. So I am blessed with abundance. I don't have money in my bank account. I am blessed with abundance because I see abundance. I am abundantly, internally wealthy because I am internally in acceptance. And I know that where we are aligning, where we've been gradually moving as a collective consciousness is coming toward, the reason why they say New Earth is about love and prosperity and abundance, you have to realize that has nothing to do with the identification of love or the identification of money. New Earth is actually, it's not new, it's a returning to, it's a remembering, right? So if you actually, if people were given the money that they think that they're owed from New Earth right now, it would be given to everyone operating from a state of internal lack, scarcity, and fear. You can't give people abundance that are still in lack and fear and scarcity. It doesn't work. New Earth doesn't happen to you. It happens through you. And the only reason why it's new is because it's not connected to the karmic debt that you've been recycling through as a lower state of consciousness that was not aware of its choices, that was not aware it could make a different choice, that was not aware that it could actually exist in a state of inner peace and prosperity. And the question here is that, like, after you've received all these different reflections and perceptions, will you actually apply them? Will you even attempt to apply it? Will you actually maybe even apply the opportunity that the government can't affect you? Will you give that a shot and see what happens? Maybe apply the fact that a different perspective, that disease isn't real, that fear isn't real, that lack isn't real. Two sides, one coin, both are biased. The coin is neutral. And if you can start operating from neutrality and not assigning polarized meaning, then you're starting to connect to New Earth. It's already available. It's simply a frequency of internal self-worth. And when you are internally wealthy, you don't think the same way, you don't feel the same way, you don't believe the same way, and you don't give your energy, your time, and your attention to those same ways of thinking, feeling, and believing. You're not outsourcing, right? You're not giving you don't need to give your energy and attention to things that don't support that. So you're always perceiving. Even that comment is made in a perception. Everything is based on perception, my dear. Your lens of reality, how you see reality based on what you believe reality is, that's a perception. How you perceive, how I see, think, feel, act. Okay. All right. If you guys are open to receiving some overtones, I'm going to bring those through now. This is an opportunity for you to simply just be in presence even more so than you already are. To just drop in to basically like a meditative state. We're not going into this to get anything out of it. Overtones is my expression of vibration that meets you where you are in your point of receptivity and moves through your body, harmonizing, aligning, vibrating. Okay? So if there's any judgment, any shame, any guilt, it's you're going to be kicking back against what's coming through. Just like me speaking, you'll be kicking back. You'll be screaming. You'll be, no, that's not right. No, no, no. You know what I'm saying? So you don't have to know what's happening to experience what's happening. Let go of your nose. Thank you, Bede. Let go of your nose and just simply drop into acceptance. Okay? All right. Thank you, my dear. Thank you for joining. Much love. Take care. Appreciate you, beautiful. Love you. Okay. Thank you. Is it Umkar? Umkar? Thank you, Umkar. I appreciate that. Thank you. I love you, my dear. I love all of you very much. And I mean that, meaning I unconditionally accept you. That's what my expression of love represents, okay? All right. So if you would like to stick around, just close your eyes. There's no need to look at the screen. This is an opportunity for you to just feel. Okay. Omkar, thank you, beautiful. So let's close our eyes together. And again, thank you to everyone that has hung around this long. I know it was a bit rocky there at the beginning and the chaos in the comments. So thank you for being here. I love you. I appreciate you. I accept you. I honor you. I see you. You are held and supported always. Please know that the directness of an expression does not diminish the support. There's nothing in this world that diminishes support except for your belief and your perception. And so as you are closing your eyes, I would like for you to just simply focus on the sensation of the breath. Becca, are you still here with us, my dear? If you are, can you please let me know in the comments? I have a reason for asking. Okay, good. Pay attention to how I'm moving through this. Okay? This will answer your questions from last night. So if you ever feel like you're having difficulty dropping in, it's because you're trying too hard. Dropping in, you're welcome, beautiful. Dropping in is natural. It just simply means that you close your eyes and you pull your awareness into your body, where all that you're aware of is somatics. The easiest place to begin is with the breath. So as you're breathing in, becoming aware of the sensation of the breath on your nose, the coolness of the air as it enters your body. And if you would like to take it a step further, you can feel yourself pulling the air from your crown into your heart. And then on the out breath, expanding through your heart, releasing tension. And the next round, the next in-breath, feel yourself pulling the breath up from your feet into your chest. And then on the out-breath, expanding through your heart. I'm already getting floaty because my brainwave state has shifted. So there's a lot of floatiness, a lot of movement. I'm not trying to move, it's just a byproduct. So do a couple of breaths that round, and a couple of rounds, of that way of breathing, or just simple breaths, feeling the coolness, but allowing yourself to audibly exhale. That sound is releasing tension in your body. Now, if you have discomfort in your body, if you have pain in your body, it's okay. You're not trying to silence the pain. You're not trying to change how you feel. You're not trying to control your thoughts. You're observing everything. Pain exists because we lacked acceptance in a moment. This is a moment. Welcome. We're dropping into some overtones and just like meditation guidance here if you'd like to join. We have pain in our body because there was a moment in time where we were not in acceptance, or many moments in time, and it builds up. So this is an opportunity to recognize that place in your body that is speaking to you loudly, and to simply just say internally, I see you. I hear you. I accept you, and I love you, and just allow it. The state of mastery comes in when that sensation does not control anything else. Yes, I am, my dear. If you would like to join us, just please close your eyes, because I will not be reading comments here in just a second. This is a space for you to recognize everything that you are seeing, feeling, thinking, but you're not trying to control it. You're just the observer. So just observe. A body scan is simply beginning with your crown and just moving down to your feet, just reviewing, just seeing if there's any tension, and if there is, just releasing. That's all you're doing. So do a quick scan, beginning with the crown, moving down to the eyebrows, the cheeks, relaxing your temples, relaxing your forehead, relaxing your jaw, letting your mouth fall open if necessary. And then moving down to your shoulders, allowing them to drop. Thank you, Samantha. Allowing your shoulders to drop. And moving down, scanning your abdomen, scanning your hips, scanning your legs, releasing any tension in the hips that may be there, but that might be there. Just taking a deep breath and just relaxing. And then bringing that awareness all the way down to the feet, relaxing the ankles, relaxing the toes. And then bringing the awareness back to the heart and remaining in the heart space. With each breath, feeling yourself releasing more and more tension, starting to become aware of the sensations of expansiveness. And I am going to ask everyone to internally accept this exchange. I can better connect to everyone through that state of acceptance. So just internally declare, I accept, I receive, I accept, I allow. And I will meet you through the quantum field and connection. Ooh, yeah, I felt that. There's some fluttering in my heart. Surrendering, allowing your body to just go limp. And then as your brainwave state begins to shift, you will notice pulling, swaying, a feeling of expansiveness or tingling, maybe like little prickle pins in your body. And just allowing yourself to surrender to those sensations. Okay. Now we will begin with the overtones. Just allowing the overtones to meet you with acceptance, honoring all that you are. These overtones are here to serve and support. They are here to offer from a space of neutrality, which means from this state, I'm, by the way, closing my comments down for this section. From this state, these tones will reach you in the exact manner they are needed. allowing the sound to release any tension in the body. You may notice movement. Your body may begin to move during this experience or have the sensation of movement. Please allow that. You don't want to try to move, you're allowing the movement. There is a difference. And just allowing the body to soften further, allowing it to open more. And that one seems to be pulling through the spine. These overtone sounds are multiple tones layered on top of one another, which are exceptionally wonderful, enriching and coherence, different parts of the self and the energy bodies. Each part of the overtone represents a layer of wisdom, a layer of personal empowerment, acceptance, worthiness. It is all meeting you in that regard. It's meeting you in your empowerment. It's meeting you in your acceptance. It's meeting you in all the value that you hold. So through the power of sound and breath, and vibration, the nervous system responds and releases. I want to take a moment here to review where the majority of the scarcity lines are held in the somatic space in connection with all of us. It's obviously blocking the heart. It's not able to move, which means lines get stuck in the throat and are expressed as shame, as judgment, as resentment, as attack, or as fear. Solar plexus is where I'm being drawn. And the abdomen. And pancreas. Now, pancreas is an organ that once your sensory perception starts opening, I know many people throw around the word empathic, but empathic also is, many people have no clue what they're talking about when they mention it. Everyone is an empath because we all feel. The spleen from your etheric body's perception is an open space of processing, regenerating, rejuvenating, and neutralizing on a bloodline perspective. Neutralizing emotions and generating a neutral space of acceptance with those emotions through the body and the blood, your bloodline. So we're going to bring extra emphasis on the spleen and the gut to allow the heart to do what it does best, which is neutralize. And guilt, envy, and comparison are held in that gut space and that solar plexus. It's this unworthiness that turns on itself and becomes comparison, this unworthiness that turns on itself and it becomes envy, this unworthiness that turns on itself and becomes guilt. This is a space to allow that to transmute into acceptance. Okay, directing these overtones into the gut space, pulling them up through the solar plexus. I'm already beginning to burp. Space is opening. Opening, 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 opening. We allow all lines to be received in acceptance and neutrality. Observing that words such as guilt are just a way of identifying with feeling. We no longer choose to identify that way. Envy is another way of identifying with feeling, and we no longer choose to identify in that way. Comparison is a way of marking ourselves against another person, and we no longer choose to mark ourselves in that way. Now I'm feeling a very powerful openness and expansiveness in the abdomen and the solar plexus. And now for me, the abdomen and the solar plexus and all of that feels really open, expansive, and at the same time, it feels supported. It feels strong. I'm hoping that it's translating for you guys as well. But I'm definitely feeling and sensing that. I'm also feeling this weightlessness in the spine. Now, of course, depending on your brainwave state, that will make all the difference in how you perceive through your senses. Your brainwave state, there's a different way of sensory perception that happens through a brainwave state. For me, it's really easy to enter into gamma and theta. And so from that's where I'm at right now. From that space, I'm very floaty. I'm very expansive. I'm communicating, but my body is like tingly and mushy, but my awareness is bigger than my body. My spine is like water. My muscles don't really exist. So from this space, the reception point is a little different. Oh, that was a big one. That one's encompassing. It's like a globe. It's a broader range. Okay. Feeling whole, feeling complete. We'll do a few more here just to wrap things up. If you are interested in receiving a full session of overtones and deeper somatic embodied guidance, I do have an upcoming offering that I pushed out to starting this month that I will be starting, and it will be probably my last public offering like that in a while. So if anyone is interested in that, I will have information in the description on how you can join. It is a paid offering. And feeling whole, feeling complete, feeling grounded and anchored, feeling expansive, feeling relaxed. Yes. I want to say thank you all for being here. Thank you for choosing to receive. Thank you for receiving everything that led to this moment, as well as the overtones. Like I said, I will have just the overtone somatic based guidance coming through in the upcoming offering. If you are interested in joining, you can, there's 3 sessions that begin this month. I'm thinking of beginning around the 21st. Haven't set the exact date yet, but I'm thinking the 21st, and it will be approximately an hour and a half. Each session individually is $55, or you can just buy all 3 for $111. But they will be scattered throughout this month and next month. So these sessions focus on connecting to your perception of your past, your perception of your future, and the present integration of yourself right now. 3 sessions, 3 very important focal points of how you move through time. All happening with somatic guidance, all happening with overtones, and all coming from my own space of self-application and self-learning, and what I've gained from that. So this will offer you an opportunity to openly accept your ancestral lines, to see those more clearly, to see how that's projecting you into your future, quote unquote, which is all happening right now. So if you're interested, like I said, other than that, I do have a free space where you can join that is focused on self-mastery, self-empowerment, and or you can do book a one-on-one with me, and I will have everything in the description on pricing around that as well, okay? If not, you can just join in the next public live whenever that is, okay? Thank you all. Thank you so much. Thank you, Omkar, for being here with us. Truly appreciate you, Becca. Thank you as well, my dear, for hanging around. I love you. I love you all. And yeah, I will have another live coming in soon. And I will release the date around the upcoming offerings. So just let me know if you're interested. Payments are through PayPal and Venmo or Cash App. Okay. All right. Until next time, beautiful souls.